What about your parents? What are they thinking now that your mom helps you sort of find the publishers who find this, who you get an audition and you meet Chris Columbus and you get the part and you have one line that you improvise on or they gave you on set and they're like, oh, okay, that's cute. She's part of this big thing. But, when did they go, oh my gosh, you are part of that. You really are part of this.
Yeah, I think it was also sometimes even when we were filming it hard to fathom the scale as it was like growing into this phenomenon. And I think often it was really weirdly the premieres that made you kind of just the noise of the fans in Leicester Square and hearing like, oh, whoa, it's a huge, this is a massive deal. And, every year I went to the premieres with my family and it always felt like they were the moments where we kind of looked at each other like, what is this? What are we in? Like, this is wild. So it was always fun to feel those moments because often it was such a kind of close-knit community on the set. Sometimes it didn't even just became really normal, as life does, whatever your normal is. So those were kind of cool. But I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they were, as any parent is, like worried as well as excited just to make sure that I feel
safe.
Yeah, safe, protected, happy, still doing it. I think from 9 to 19 years old, as I was in the series, like that's a massive period of your life where like a lot is going on.
I mean, you're really growing up.
Yeah.
And you still have a lot to do. 19 is still young, so, but those are like, that's 10 years of your life. That's half of your first 19 years. You're on set, you're experiencing this world fame. Mm-hmm. How did you take it? Like, did people recognize you instantly?
Yeah. I mean, obviously as the character grew, it was like an inevitable thing that would grow into being more recognizable. I mean, I feel on the scale of some of the other actors, I feel I had a relatively, like I could still have a normal life. I took the tube to school and I went, I lived in the heart of London and I was kind of out and about and doing my thing. There were some days where you did suddenly be like, oh my God, I want to, run away and hide in a box or something. And then other days it was like, kind of forgot that I played this big character. So it ebbed and flowed. And I think as you're going through those kind of awkward teenage years, sometimes it's quite difficult because you often just want to kind of be swallowed up with the crowd as you sometimes do as a teenager in those awkward days or moments when you don't feel great. So that was sometimes challenging just when you're kind of figuring out who you are anyway. And then people have this idea of who you are.
Right.
It's like I guess I'm that person, but I'm also like all these other people that I'm figuring out.
Yeah. Hey there, folks. It's Michael Rosenbaum, and boy, have I got a huge announcement for you. This has been a long time coming, and it's finally here. I'm doing a live podcast. My podcast, Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum, is going live. Yeah, for the first time ever on Wednesday, October 11th at the iconic Regent in Los Angeles. And guess what? I'm not going to be alone. We're bringing a guest you might remember. He's been on the podcast. He's a friend of the show, the one, the only, Zachary Levi. We're going to catch up on life and mental health, and we're going to have a really good time with all of you. I think you know that. We're going to make it a lot of fun. We're planning a Q&A, maybe some fun games, other exclusive stuff you're only going to get by seeing it live. We're even hosting a VIP meet and greet for a small number of people before the show begins. Grab your tickets, mark your calendars, and get ready for the night of laughs, insights, and unforgettable moments. Tickets are limited, so don't miss your chance to join us on October 11th at the Regent in Los Angeles. Get your tickets now at insideofyoulive.com. This is going to be an epic night, so if you're in the area, come out and I'll see you there. It just seems like I was so immature. I'm still immature. But I feel like if I had that sort of fame, I don't know, I might be like, kind of acting a certain way, maybe in front of my parents, like, you're talking to a star. Hello, jeweler. Listen.
Wait a minute.
I mean, did your mom ever have to put you in place? Or like, all right, listen, Miss Actress. Do you remember being a young actress, actor? And then like, listen, all right, you're not in this house. I mean, do you remember any of that?
I don't think I hope was never like that. It was never like put in my place from my behavior. I think it was more just sometimes realizing the opportunity and privilege I had through that role and what I was able to do. I think my parents like kept me level-headed in that way. But I honestly think all of us, because we had each other and we were the same age and we were kind of experiencing this thing at the same time, I think it was much easier than what I could maybe imagine being like a single child actor on a predominantly, adult set. Because you kind of don't know exactly where are you still a child or are you now just entirely a professional? So I kind of loved the fact that we were all a similar age, and off camera we were doing our classes together and studying and just doing normal kid things and teenage things. So that kind of was super helpful. It felt less isolating in that way, which is, I think, when you start to think you're above others, when you begin to be a bit isolated.